No, go ahead. Hi, Mary, how are you?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
All right. We get a little feedback here on it? No. Okay. I looked at all the board members last this meeting. I will move to approve the minutes from the November 1st, 2021 board meeting. Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Any question or comment? Hearing. Aye.
I'm just gonna change this over.
Very good. On to validity of provisional ballots and authorize the count provisional ballots from November 2nd, 2021. General election, Miss Betty Edwards. Good morning, Betty.
Good morning. Betty Edwards,
You should
you
have
should have before you the provisional ballots for summer board. A total of 2,055 ballots were issued during the November 2nd, 2021 general election. Of the 2,055 provisionals received, 1,891 were confirmed ballot provisional ballots,
while
while 164 were rejected for various deficiencies during the verification process.
Staff
Staff verified the provisionals in accordance
with
with Chapter 6,
provisional
provisional voting of the Secretary of State's election officials manual,
and
and
directives
directives 2019-04,
2020-08,
2020-08,
and
and 2020-09. We found 1,891 provisionals
that
that met the requirements for opening.
They
They
included
included
26
wrong precinct correct locations, which will be remade by the ballot department.
a total of 22 ballots that were valid to the 8th grade exception. The 8th grade exception allowed any Cuyahoga County voter that was canceled as a result of the supplemental process of 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017 to be reactivated as long as they did not register in another county after their 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2019 cancellations. Further, staff verified 153 incoming out of county provisionals, and we also verified 105 provisionals where the voters were previously registered in Cuyahoga County and did not vote during this election. On the summary report, we have a breakdown of the rejection.
A total of
71
71
provisionals were rejected because
voters
voters
were not registered.
There were
There were
28
28
wrong precinct, wrong location. 24 had
24 had
previously
previously
voted
voted
absent.
absentee.
There were
There
8
were 8
empty
empty
envelopes,
envelopes,
8
8
missing addresses, 8 missing
8
date
missing
of birth,
dates of birth,
7
7
missing signatures,
signatures,
5 non-matching ID, 2
2
voted absentee that had been challenged, 2 were missing ID, and 1 was ineligible for the election.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Edwards? Hearing none, then I will move to approve the opening of provisional ballots as set forth on our agenda and explained to us by Ms. Betty Edwards, and to authorize the count of those provisional ballots for next November 2nd, 2021 general election. This is a second. Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
I also have that information with us, what you want to quantify.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
There were 64 provisionals cast, of which 61 were good.
Okay, right. That was just someone that inquired about Lakewood as a close race. They wanted to know how many ballots would be counted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards.
Mr. Cleary.
Mr. Cleary. Do you need to, does he need to talk? We're just gonna move.
Yeah, these should, these are, the first is the ballot proofs, which is standard process that we do before every election, which is pursuant to the Secretary of State's manual. And if there's any questions, follow the proofing process that this board had approved, and everything is good and solid for November 23rd.
Okay, and I will move and to acknowledge the ballot for the November 3rd, 2021 Maple Heights Council District 6 recall election according to the ballot proofing policy approved by this board in the March 12, 2021 board meeting. If there's a second? Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I will move to approve the final ballot order for the November 3rd, 2021 Maple Heights Council District 6 real call election. If there's a second? Second. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, and on to acknowledgements and resignations from appointed office. I will move to acknowledge the resignation of Chantel Brown from the Cuyahoga County Council, and also to appoint one of our own, Meredith Turner, to replace Ms. Brown on that council, and also the appointment of Nino Monaco for the Mayfield Heights member of City Council. There's a second. Second. Thank you. Any question or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and then on to election officials. I move to approve the appointment of not less than 2 precinct election officials for each precinct pursuant to the revised code 3501-.22 for the November 23rd, 2021 Maple Heights Council District 6 recall election. If there's a second. Second. Thank you. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously, and then I will move to for the final authorization for the allocation of voting equipment for that November 23rd, 2021 Maple Heights member of council District 6 recall election. Allocation quantities are based on the social distancing and room size. A total of 15 voting booths will be allocated, plus 3 PS200 precinct scanners and 1 ADA AutoMark voting booth and 2 electronic poll books. If there's a second. Second. Thank you. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the personnel agenda is self-explanatory. I will reluctantly accept resignation of Ms. Turner, but I'm sure we have some supporters and friends in higher places. So let's do it. If there's a second. Second. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. And that, her resignation took effect immediately.
Yes.
Yes. Terrific. All right. Thank you.
Any scores? Other sport things I just wanted to hit on real quick.
First is
November 23rd.
the Maple Heights election.
Early first voting begins next Friday. Voters come in.
This week, the hours are
7 Monday through Friday. We don't open this weekend.
Saturday 8 to 4, Sunday 9 to 5, in agreement with the election official manual. We won't have a whole lot of folks coming down for that. Vote by mail, we have 31 ballots that we've processed and mailed out. So you can wait for those. None of them come back yet. And then really this election here, we're conducting for the most part in-house. So Midwest has printed ballots, but Ryan and his team will be hand stuffing the ballot pads. Election officials, Becky and her team will be staffing the polls on election day. With internally, Victor and his team will deliver the equipment, bring it back. So we're not a lot of the third-party vendors or hiring pollers that we do. It's small enough that we'll be able to do that. And then we probably have our staff split shifts throughout the day, so no one's there for the entirety of it. So we're ready for that. It is one point location. It's Wiley Athletic Center in Maple Heights. The other next item is the website. We are on track to launch our website December 1st. So we're excited about that. We've been talking about it for a whole long time. The Cleveland Site Center is finishing up a review of our website just as for ADA compliance issues. I'm not required to do that, but that's just something to go above and beyond and make sure it's okay. And the Secretary of State's office is aware that we are doing that. Mary Hannah, who we've seen before, she is the lead on the actual website infrastructure and the creation, and we're about there. We're pushing it out. And Peter James is the lead on our rollout. This week, we are focusing on internal training for our staff and CPS registration, community outreach, and the board clerks. CPS, as you know, primarily deals with the candidates, so we're going to focus heavily on the candidate stuff to make sure that they're able to answer those questions. Registration is responsible for answering the agency phones, so we want to make sure that they're good on the website. Community outreach, we all know that they deal with constituents. The board clerks, not only do they provide support to you, but they're also responsible for public records. A lot of them are directing individuals to the website so they can self-serve and that's how we fulfill those records. So that's our goal this week, to get them really versed in this website. And then the rest of the agencies, all the departments will have training, but theirs will probably happen after we go live or that week, just because they, their timing isn't as important. So we'll by mail applications, hopefully there are no elections this year, so they don't have to worry about that. And Victor and those things. So we are on track for that. We will do some Zoom calls before December 1st. So like the Monday, December 1st is a Wednesday, that Monday, we're scheduling the Secretary of State's office to take them through our website to make sure that they understand and are up to speed on it. On that Tuesday, we'll work with the political parties and the county communications department, as well as, I think there was another group, and it's slipping my mind right now, on that Tuesday. I don't remember. But was that it? Okay, so we were going to work with them and showing them how that works. And on Wednesday, the first day that it's open, we'll have a Zoom meeting in the morning, one in the afternoon. We'll do a press release that'll be open to the public, so anybody who wants to come in, they can join in there, and we'll kind of just be clicking around, showing people how to use our website. So that's what we will be doing. We'll start putting something up on our current website saying that the new website is coming, and some social media posts, and I think we're trying to get some information out, but part of it too is I think we just have to jump in and do it. So,
Yeah,
Joe?
I had a question. Training, we didn't mention us, and I'm only asking because I'm just wondering, since we got the preview, if there had been any major changes, or, I mean, I think a lot of it, you have to just use it yourself and kind of become familiar, but whenever you mention other people are being trained, it just caused me to pause. So maybe we need to have some training or participate if we can in one of those sessions or what.
all the above. So of course, we actually want you to be able to use that. If you want to standalone one or one-on-one, we will do that. If you want to join in on any of the ones that we already do have scheduled, whether it's with our staff or one of the ones for the public, and we will be getting Mary and Linda also very versed to, not that we won't help you as much as we can too, but just make sure that they're good resources.
Just let us know when the sessions will be then.
Most definitely.
Great. Any other questions on the website? Thank you.
Okay, and then the December meeting schedule. So we currently have 2 meetings on the books, Monday, December 6th and Monday, December 20th. And what I would like is if potentially we could have 1 meeting in December, and that meeting would be on Wednesday, December 8th. And the reason I asked for that is that I'm going to start with the 20th meeting. We originally had the 20th meeting in anticipation that if there were to be a runoff election, that 20th is when we would certify that election. And Colonel Heights, luckily, the person that was the one that potentially they were going to recall, the person got way over 50%. So I think we should be good not having a runoff election. So that negates the need for the 20th. December 6th, that meeting, the intention of it was to certify the November 23rd meeting, or the November 23rd election. So we will still do that on December 8th, but we also have the potential right now for 6 automatic recounts. And by December, we wouldn't be ready to certify the automatic recount, to certify the acknowledge those automatic recounts. And are required statutorily the time frame to start the post-election audit. However, we can't start that audit until we certify any recount results that we might have, even if nothing changes. So what we think is that if we do it on Wednesday the 8th, we should be able to get through, if through this process, we still have 6 recounts, or maybe there's less, maybe more, maybe none. Hopefully we can adjust our schedules to get all those completed. So on the 8th, we would not only acknowledge the recount results, we would also certify the multi selection. And then hopefully that would then be the only recount, or the only meeting that we would need to have in December. There's always a curveball. The curveball is the requested recount we don't know about. But again, what we can do is we're allowed to start automatic recounts while the additional 5-day window is going on for a requested recount, meaning that we can try to knock those out. As soon as we get those done, we can roll right into requested if it did happen. That meeting, if we can do it on the 8th, would be a little bit longer meeting, because what we would do is we would present get approval for those, and then clear go through his processes, and then it would be about 90 minutes. He would come back and we would certify Maple Heights. So we would kind of do 2 things at one. We would have some things that we could address after the provisional process, but maybe not enough to fill that window where we could pause, or whatever it would be until he came back. I think if we do this, we can hopefully just have one meeting in December and not have one the week of the holiday, and maybe everybody can.
That's fine.
Schedule's open.
Schedule's open, or?
That makes sense too.
Yeah, I think would we eliminate, should we eliminate the 6th? Should we leave the 20th on our calendar just in case, or no?
If you could, I would say just in case, and I would say that next Monday, when we certify the election, we definitely will know what we're looking at as far as recounts. So that, and then following the recount deadline is December 30th, so we would know if anybody came forward. So I think, I'm sorry, November 30th. So hopefully by November 30th, we really have, I think, a good look at the playing field.
So we'll meet at 9:30 on the 8th.
Yes.
Right, okay, and then we can plan to have about an hour delay, or an hour and a half before we come back. And then we'll conclude the meeting that morning also.
Right, so yes, I just asked if you could discuss it.
December 6th basically becomes December 8th.
Exactly.
So we'll get whatever economics we need to make, Mary and Linda. Thank you. All right.
So thank you. And then the last thing I just wanted to hit on, unless there's questions. As board members, as county council redistricting, this week staff will be working on processing the voter history from the November 2nd election. We need to have that completed. And once we have that, then we can dive into the county council redistricting. County council has provided us with some changes to some of the districts. And once we have our voter history locked in, then we can make some adjustments to those. We should, and what would happen is we get that done, we get it all approved, we push that out. And then at our December 8th meeting, we would probably come forward with this new map for approval. Really, I think it's just something we have to do as a council to tell you this is what the districts are going to be. So we just acknowledge.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Clyde? Anything else? Tony?
No, I think,
You know, just, I think one point, and you emailed us, that I think we should just briefly talk about this ineligible for election matter.
yes,
Just briefly about what we determined and why we didn't count that ballot.
sure. So there, it was one provisional that was rejected under the title of ineligible for an election. And what happened was, as we process the provisional process, we always look at the provisionals and we compare the provisional module to the check-ins on electronic poll books. And we will then look to see, is there an overlap? And in this scenario, we found that there was, under a voter registration, there was a provisional cast, and there was also a check-in at a polling location on election day
By the same person.
by the same person. Well,
Well, they're saying that it's not the same
Yeah.
person, right?
allegedly the same person. And so
Through that process, we look at stub
numbers, we see, did somebody sign in, and did they then tell the person that they moved and no ballot was cast, and then they go to the new place. So we do all that preliminary work to try to see, and I think we've also heard in the past where somebody, they go, they vote, and then poll workers say, well, really, you should have gone to your new location, and so harmlessly, they go to the new location. And we kind of thought, okay, maybe this scenario, we actually talked to a family member of the voter who confirmed that, yes, he no longer lives at this location and has gone somewhere else. So we would go ahead and we would reject that as invalid. Well, on Friday afternoon, the individual called in and spoke with Tony, and in that conversation indicated that he never went to the polls and voted at his old polling location. That a ballot was cast there. And in looking, from us starting to look at it deeper, we see that the driver's license was scanned at on election day at the first location where a regular ballot was cast. And then 30 minutes later, that same driver's license was presented at the new voting location. It came up as a lookup. Now, ballot wasn't issued from that because it was provisional, and then they switched into a manual lookup. Only 30 minutes transpired in between these two transactions. And so it makes us think, okay, if a license was presented and pull up this record at these two locations, it's only 30 minutes apart, we need to know, okay, did someone other than this voter have access to the license, or what is going on?
So we're gonna continue an investigation.
We're gonna continue the investigation. We'll see what we find. We invited a gentleman in on Friday, he no-showed on us, so we're trying.
And these conversations that Mr. Kelly had, there was a bipartisan conversation.
Yeah.
You were with a Democrat and a Republican talking to somebody else. Okay, just wanted to let us know what's going on and how earnestly we stand on top of this.
Yeah, so we'll report back.
Any questions for Mr. Palladino? All right, hearing none. We do have a couple of public comments. Mr. Dantes Taylor. Mr. Taylor, if you would assist him, please.
Information on that.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you all set up there? Yeah, could you get that mic? Okay, great. All right, thank you for coming, Mr. Taylor. This is the public comment portion of our meeting, and you have 5 minutes to address the board, okay? Why don't you begin, sir?
Hello.
Hello.
You hear me?
Yep.
My name is Dantes Taylor, and I am contesting my vote. I have people that voted for me in this election when I ran for council as a write-in candidate, and I have several people that I know of that voted for me in this and keep saying one vote, and I know more than one vote out here in this election for our running for council and for as a write-in candidate. And one of the comments, but, and some other people. And I'm trying to see why they're coming from.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
So what I can do is I give you just a little bit of information. As far as the write-in process is concerned, it's a two-step process for voters. So the individual voting needs to, one, fill in the oval position in the write-in area, and on that line, write in the candidate's name. If an individual only writes the name only and doesn't fill in the oval, well, then that's not a valid ballot. And vice versa, if a person only fills in the oval and doesn't put a name, the next
What we do here to
tabulate the write-ins is after we go through and on election night, we process our results, the ballot department then goes back and they manually look at every oval position that was filled in on the write-in. It's the staff looking at those, scrolling through and looking, and they're making a determination what name is written next to that. Now, there were actually 2 write-in candidates for Cleveland Ward 4 Council, and from staff's looking through, on election day, there were 35 ovals, write-in ovals filled in. And of those 35, one of them was for Mr. Taylor, 28 of them were for an opponent, Antone Colbert, and there were 6 that were invalid. And those are a combination of, I think someone did write Jesus Christ on one of the lines, and the other ones were blank and things like that. So there was one vote that came that way. On the vote by mail, there were 8 write-in ovals filled in Cleveland Ward 4 Council. Mr. Colbert received 5, Mr. Taylor received 0, and there were 3 that were invalid. So as of now, in the unofficial, that is what staff has seen. And again, it's a manual process. So, and Ryan goes through and he looks at things again, sees what staff does. He goes over and makes sure that everything is matching a bipartisanship in that process. And unfortunately, this is, there was only one that was.
So when we do the official certification, we'll go through this process again, correct?
Right, exactly. So any new additional ballots, provisionals, curbside, and vote by mail.
We'll take another look at it. Mr. Cleary? Yeah. Hold on, Ms. Pinckney, okay?
I want to show you what I did in the process. And I was trying to tell him, but he walked off and ignored me.
Okay, Ms. Pinckney, we have one, thank you. We're going to address this matter here. Thank you.
Trying to figure that out. That's correct. Our process, election night is only the election day and vote by mail. You may have got more votes, you just haven't counted those yet. It's a manual process. You have to go through and look at every ballot. So what we do for the target circumstances, every oval position that's filled in on our ERM report, say there's 50, we have to find 50 ballots associated with that. We'll go through every ballot. The machine sorted for us, so sort those, but they don't, we go through every ballot, and you look at the valid name on the ballot, and for, according to the UM, as long as there's, we will validate the first name, last name, spell it, as long as we can tell what it is, as long as it's not 2 people with the same name. So there's 2 Brian's, we need more information. There's one Brian, as long as it says Brian, we'll count that. So, for the official result, it was 33 to 1. I don't know what it will be. We're just starting to get the cameras today. So once we add in the first voter, curbside, votes by mail is will go up, or it may stay as it is. I don't have that information for you.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Cleary?
No, so there may be additional information to address the candidates.
Monday when we certify, there may be additional vote, or it may be the same. We won't know until we actually go back and look at it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cleary, and thank you, Mr. Taylor, for coming down here. Could you, if you could assist him, please, Mary? Thank you. Okay, Ms. Pinckney, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. We just
We're finishing
are
up
finishing
another
up another
election
election.
that's been
That's
somewhat
been
challenging
somewhat
for me this
challenging
year.
for me this year.
Again,
Again,
and where's the clock? So I can see
clock?
the
I
time?
can see the time.
It's right here.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let you know when you got a minute left.
Okay,
The acknowledgement of resignation
from
appointment to elected office.
office.
In order to do that, I'd like to know, how do we get an investigation
done?
Process. What is the procedure? Mr. Pilati, please call me back. Give me instructions. I need some, take my time on this process.
Sure.
And then, final authorization for allocation of voting equipment. I came here several times and I said to you all that we wanted more drop boxes. We want more polling sites, more access for the public to do their votes. And I'm being ignored. We have a very serious epidemic in this country right now. We can call it a pandemic of voter suppression. And people who are being suppressed are poor, illiterate, wealthy, all classes of people. Because there's a certain bunch of people that want to bully the voting process. People died and have lived for people's rights to vote. And we need to work on this, and we're not going to allow anyone to suppress the votes and the voices of the people. When you suppress the votes and the voices of the people, that means that you don't care what people are saying to give you a job. I voted for Dantes Taylor. And I just tried to show you all the proof, but I'm ignored every time I go to speak somewhere, and I have a problem with that because I did the process. I filled in the hole and I wrote in his name. And somewhere in this process, someone has been said to not listen to me. And I think I did on the color this morning. And I'm having a chat on this because situations like when she walks the room rolling her eyes at me. We have to get together. Same page with this voting process. I want to know why it is that an elected official is holding two positions too. Chantel Brown supposedly just won this president race, but is also the chairman of the Democratic Party of County. That should not be allowed. There's enough people to do enough work, and we have enough problems of lackadaisical behavior in Calhoun County. We don't need any more of that. Number three, I want to thank you, Mr. Pilati, for being polite to me and courteous to me during this election, because I've had some challenges over the years. But I am concerned about people's votes and ballots still disappearing. Mr. Hastings, Director Hastings, Chair Hastings, forgive me. And I want us to get together on the same page. I did an event the other day addressing violence against women of color. I'm not saying this to sound racist, but provisions are made for white women. But if it's not a white person, then there are things that people say are not available. But there's still even violence in the voting process for people of color, especially women of color. But if we're in shelters and we're still facing domestic violence and we're still feeling overt racism in the workplace and in other places, then voting is not going to be fair and equal across the board. I don't know what Ms. Chappelle went through to get in that seat, but I know one thing is still not balanced. I'm asking you, Chair Hastings, to look at these matters. And I want to still know what is happening with this voter suppression, because it's very real, and we're going to have a war in this country. Not just a civil war, not just a racial war, not just a religious war, but we're going to have a war just because people feel like they're not being heard.
You have 1 minute, Mr.
Dantes Taylor may be visually impaired, but he sees what we don't see. He sees what we don't see.
And it's not fair to people who are disabled to be discounted because they're treated like the people were treated in the middle of the day.
Who had leprosy and other forms of ailments, who were denied the right to the temple. We need to work on this. And we need to get past the skin color issue and look at the purpose for which we operate. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Mr. Hastings. Thank you. No other public comment. I'm going to move to go into recess, correct? Because we're still coming back. All right, and if there's a second on that? Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll be back here next week, next Monday. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Thank you.